You look like in the box is a award winner. That's probably because you are. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Are we filming again? Could you guys actually let me know before I start doing this that we're filming? It's like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy bragging about winning an Boxing Award. But I would like to know this stuff ahead of time, that we're actually filming. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Boxing Award winner, Boxing. And I am coming back with at least one more episode of Why I'm a Wrestling Fan. Now, for those of you who know me, one of my all-time favorites is this man, Mick Foley. Now, the reason why I'm a wrestling fan, like, regarding Mick Foley, it's like watching him. It's like everything that he's done in regards to pro wrestling, it's like that's not actually wrestling, because he was never a technical performer. He was always one of those brawling, like one of those spot guys where he could take the big bumps. Well, I guess not that much of a spot guy, but he took some of the biggest bumps. He was like I said, he was never one of those like Bret Hart, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan types where he would go hold for hold with some of the technical masters. But he was a huge guy. He was always, when I first saw him, he was around the 280, 290 mark, and the abuse that he could take was massive. Anyone who remembers him from ECW would know this. Anyone who watched him in Japan would know this. Like, he was the first ever King of the Deathmatch winner, where in the final he took on Terry Funk in a barbed wire rope C4 explosive match, and that's how he burned his arm. He even lost his ear in Germany. And if you want to know about that, he actually writes about that in his first book, Have a Nice Day, A Tale of Blood and Sweat Socks, which is actually a pretty good read. If you ever start to go into wrestling biographies, that would actually be a good one to start with. So, the thing but like everything else he did was just like so entertaining. He was one of the best promo men that you can imagine. If you don't believe me, take a look at like the Kane Dewey promo when he turned heel on Tommy Dreamer in ECW. You take a look at his vignettes when he first started in WWE as Mankind, when his character was like this psychologically abused piano player. And then you continue on throughout his career when he reintroduced Cactus Jack to the WWE audience. Where you have Cactus Jack and Mankind and his other character Dude Love, like doing like video tricks. So you have the three of them on screen at the same time, and he is one of the best talkers in the business. He had a great range. He could do the comedy bit. He could do the super serious bit. Like I remember when one of the bits he was feuding with Vince McMahon, he actually hijacked an armored car or an armored van or whatever, and it had like $100,000, and he just started handing it out to the wrestlers. I remember he bought Deborah a sweater. For those of you who don't know who Deborah was, let's just say there were two things that she was remembered for. So he had the bit where he gave her a sweater and he was worried that she would get a chest cold and it would be fatal. So, yeah. But like, part of me does feel bad for Deborah having to basically be remembered for that. But yeah, just Foley had great range on the microphone, and the way he put his body on the line. I mentioned the King of the Deathmatch where he burned his arm on the C4 explosive. The same night he was dumped inside a box of thumbtacks that had like 10,000 thumbtacks in it. Oh, just and then who can forget Hell in a Cell against the Undertaker in June of 1998? When the Undertaker threw him off the cell and then chokeslammed him through the top of the cell, and he kept going. Nowadays, obviously, they would not be allowed. They would not be allowed to do it. They'd say, like the officials say, we're ending that match right now. You're not allowed to continue. But for some reason, Mick was allowed to keep going. And the way and then you think about the way he got people over, and that's something that's very hard to find nowadays in pro wrestling. That is finding ways to get people over. And you remember his feud against Triple H, for example, when the Madison Square Garden street fight and Royal Rumble 2000, and No Way Out a month later, Hell in a Cell, where Triple H backdropped him through the top of the cell, into the ring, and then it actually impacted the ring. And then, of course, a few years before that, it was King of the Ring 1997 when Triple H beat Mankind. And I mentioned earlier about the Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind promo when they were on the video screen at the same time. And that was actually a Falls Count Anywhere match, again, in Madison Square Garden, Cactus Jack versus Triple H. And it's like, that's what it's... And the way they did that, is like Triple H managed to really get over it. It's one of those things where he came out better for having wrestled Mick Foley, or Mankind. And then also you remember The Rock. You remember the night that Foley won, the night that Mankind won the championship for the first time, beating The Rock. And then of course Halftime Heat, then the Royal Rumble in 1999, that I Quit match, something like 11 shots to the head. And that's another person who came out better because of going up against Mick Foley. The Rock got more over. Yeah, this guy is one of the best. Like, if you discount like the technical part of it, even if you don't, like, this guy is actually, at the end of the day, still one of the best to ever step foot in the ring. Not because he was putting up these technical masterpieces, but because of what he accomplished. And then you think about, and then of course, one of my favorite possessions, I actually have an autographed Mr. Socko! Like, honestly, how do you not... Like, come on, how many people can pull off a sock puppet in pro wrestling? I only know one man, Mick Foley. In fact, I actually have a picture of the night that he autographed this, so I'll stick it up wherever so you can see it. And yeah, it's just... Mick Foley is one of the best to ever step foot in the ring, so he is one of the reasons why I am a professional wrestling fan.